So, hello everybody and welcome! Yes, welcome and welcome back here by BSN Network. Welcome back here by BSN Network. Hopefully everybody's having a good day so far. We are back. It is Wednesday today. Wednesday the 6th, May 6th. Hopefully everybody had a good rest of their day yesterday. Hopefully everybody having a good day so far today. We got a lot of sports to talk about. I'll tell you what. When I got up this morning, it was the first time in a while that I was watching a live sporting event, like an actual baseball game. With the KBO going on, we got to talk about that a little bit today. Here are what we got to talk about today. We got Antonio Brown, the Ravens, and Lamar Jackson. Is Antonio Brown going to go there? What will he do with the Ravens if he does? There's been rumors around it, so on and so forth. We'll get into that in just a couple of seconds from now. The Nets coaching spot / Ty Lue. There's a chance that they get Ty Lue. The Nets coaching spot is kind of up in the air right now. We got some stuff to talk about on that. And then we have the MLB returning. There was a report that came out today that said it could come out like June 1st could be when the spring training 2 starts in July, or July 1st will be the first. I will have to look into the details, but I do have it up. And then we have the KBO baseball, Korean Baseball Organization. I watched it this morning. I watched the LG Twins versus the Doosan Bears. The Doosan Bears won 5-2. I got to see from the 5th inning, I think, to the 9th. So I watched 4 innings from it because it came down at 5:30 in the morning, and I got up at 7, so I missed a little bit of the game. But like I said, it was fun. I enjoyed it. Like I said, it's baseball. It's pro baseball in Korea. That's their MLB, and that's their form of the MLB. Except for Korea. So it was good. I really enjoyed it. Comment down below if you watched it and if you enjoyed it. Nothing like the MLB. Not as good as the MLB, but definitely I enjoyed it. So let's get into it. So we got Antonio Brown to the Ravens as a possibility. There's been rumors about it. There's been some rumors surrounding it. Antonio Brown, there was a couple weeks ago. It was about a month ago, maybe. Actually, 2-3 weeks ago. He posted a picture, or they got a picture, or whatever, Lamar Jackson and all them, they got a picture of Marquise Hollywood Brown, however you want to say his name, which is Antonio Brown's cousin, who's one of the Ravens' top receivers right now, and Lamar Jackson and Antonio Brown. They all worked out together, all 3 of them. They all worked out together, probably at some sort of football field, I'm not sure where, probably somewhere in Baltimore, because that's where Lamar Jackson and probably them are. It's the off season, so maybe they're not in Baltimore. But anyway, so it was somewhere. And they took a picture of them 3. They said good. They had a workout and everything like that. It was good. It was all good. And everything was, good, I guess. They said that Antonio Brown, then a couple days later tweeted out a picture of him in a Ravens uniform. And this stirred a lot of chatter, because there was rumors that he was going to team up with Lamar Jackson and Marquise Brown, which is actually his cousin. So they're cousins. So there was rumors that Antonio Brown's going to go team up with his cousin and Lamar Jackson in Baltimore and play with each other. So once that picture got out of him in a Ravens uniform, you know how sports is. You know how, the media is. You know how people are, just regular sports fans in general. It starts blowing up. Oh, Antonio Brown officially going to the Ravens. There was some sites on, there's some untrustable sites in. You have your ESPN, you have your MLBs, you have your, you have your CBS, you have your, you have your FS1 apps, you have your I have MSG Go because I'm a Rangers fan, so if I'm on the go, I can watch the Rangers games live. Same with the Nets. I have an app for the Nets that I can watch the Nets games live if I'm on the go or something. So there's apps out there that are trustable, and then there's apps you run into that you've never heard of before and they're untrustable. I was scrolling through the Ravens news and Antonio Brown news, and I found one of the apps. It was one of the the untrustable ones, the ones that are just the random names Sportsline 1-on-1 or whatever. It wasn't that, but the names I don't even like Sports Wire, like Ravens Wire, Sports Wire, Sports 101, like one of those untrustable sites that are not getting their information. I looked on there and I looked at it and I was like, and it was like Antonio Brown to the Ravens on like a 3-year contract, $80 million. I was like, heck no. So I looked on the NFL app, nothing came out. A couple minutes and couple hours later, nothing came out. I was like, yeah, this is a fake site. It was like 3-year, $80 million deal or whatever to the Ravens. It's official. He's to the Ravens. And I was like, nah, it's not true. If that was the case, one of the main apps, like NFL or one of them, like I don't have it as an app, but it was just a site. Like Bleacher Report even, they're trustable too. Like there's sites like that, but it was funny because I was looking at it and it was, obviously it was not true, but I was like, when I looked at it, I was like, there's no way. And because I kind of bit onto it a little bit. I was kind of like, okay, is this true? Is this true? And I looked on it. It's like an hour passed, and I was like, nothing is showing up. Like this can't be true. So anyway, that's just funny. But Antonio Brown, like we all seen, last year was probably his worst year of his career. He played with the Ravens, got released by them. He didn't even play with the Ravens. He got released. Well, he did, or not the Ravens, the Raiders. I'm sorry. We played with the Raiders. He didn't even really play with them. He was a mess there. Played with the Raiders. Then he went to the New England Patriots. Played one game, then got released. And now is in free agency, hoping a team would pick him up. Antonio Brown, you probably all know it. His mind's, it's a little messed up. I don't know what happened to him last year. I don't know what he did in the offseason. I don't know. A lot of people think it was that hit. Ever since that hit, it shows that he's caused problems ever since that hit by Burfict in the 2015 playoff game, I think it was, against the Bengals. I think that hit that knocked him out. I'm not even kidding. You look at like the stats and stuff. You look at what people like, he was fine before that. After that hit, it's shown that he has like caused problems. That was when he started to develop his anger issues. He was throwing the Gatorade tubs of the big Gatorade things on the sideline. He was throwing those across the sideline. That's when he started to get into it with his teammates. That's when the Steelers started to think about getting rid of him. That's when him and Roethlisberger started to hate each other because, you had Antonio Brown fighting with him that he wasn't getting the ball enough. Antonio Brown was never like that. Like I said, Antonio Brown, he came out of Central Michigan. He had some humble beginnings coming out of college. Not meaning like, like humble beginnings meaning like bad beginnings, meaning like he was no big star coming out of college. He was no, number one draft pick. He was no Joe Burrow. This guy's going to change the Cincinnati Bengals. He was no, this guy's going to make the Pittsburgh Steelers a great player. He was not that. He came into the league as not a big name. He came into the league as not being one of your top names. Came into the league as, he's not going to be our number one receiver. He'll probably be a number 2 or 3 or maybe a backup. Maybe we'll put him in the slot. Sure enough, he became a Pro Bowler, one of the better receivers in the NFL. There was a time there he was probably one of the best receivers in the NFL. And after that hit by Vontaze Burfict, it was almost like everything changed for him. It was almost like, it's kind of scary. It's almost like ever since that, he's caused problems. It's almost like after that, he's, after what he did, or after he got hit, you look at what he's done since that. It's been nothing but problems. He's had. He's had nothing but problems with his head coaches, his teammates, his quarterbacks, everything like that, right? It's scary, but it's kind of true. So the whole theory is that ever since that Vontaze Burfict hit, there's something that rattled in his mind, and his mind hasn't been the same. And you look at last year, he was crazy. He was probably the craziest NFL player in the league, like what he was doing and all that. He got picked up by the Patriots. Played one game, he had a touchdown, 4 receptions, 56 yards, 14 average, and he had a touchdown. I have his stats up because I'm going to read his stats, like what the Ravens could be getting. Like he's got talent. The guy has got talent. It's his mind, like his head's like just something's wrong up there. And I'm trying to make it as, like, I'm not trying to be mean, but it's true. Like everybody sees it. Like there's something wrong, and he should go, like, I'm not even kidding. He should go, like, do something about it because this is really hurting his career. This is really hurting his career. And, that's why the Patriots got rid of him. Because if you don't know, they didn't get rid of him because he wasn't doing good. They didn't get rid of him because of that. They got rid of him because of the media. Everybody was on top of them because they had Antonio Brown. right? And they got rid of him because he was causing too much, almost you can say, clutter around the locker room. He was causing too much problems. The Patriots team turned from, being like that Patriots team turned from just playing their regular games in the season, doing good and everything, to everybody's on top of him. Everybody, Antonio Brown this, Antonio Brown that. That's the only name they heard for the week they had him, or for whatever, the 4 days they had him. That's the only name they heard, and they were like, you know what? No, we're getting rid of him because we can't take all this. He's causing too much commotion around the locker room, around the media, around us. We're not able to focus on our play. It wasn't Antonio Brown. Antonio Brown didn't do anything bad with the Patriots. It was just because, he kind of set himself up for failure because everybody was talking about Antonio Brown, and since they didn't want that media around them, everybody asking about Antonio Brown, they got rid of him. So Antonio Brown technically set himself up for failure by doing what he did with the Raiders. So Ravens could get him. There's a possibility. I've heard from multiple sources that they're negotiating a deal, but I've also heard from sources that they're far from a deal. I've heard some sources that they haven't even talked. There's been some sources that I've heard, trustable ones, that they haven't even talked. Like, it's just Antonio Brown saying, he wants to be a Raven. It's a bunch of wants, not actual getting the job, not actually getting it done. He just wants to go to the Ravens. All right, there's a lot of chatter I've heard around this, so I'm going to give my own take. I really don't know if Antonio Brown's going to go to the Ravens. The only reason I see him going to the Ravens is because the Ravens could use a receiver. Right? They don't have the best receiving core in the NFL. They could probably use one more receiver. They have Marquise Hollywood Brown, and then they have Mark Andrews at the tight end spot, who's very, very good. He's probably the top tight end, one of the top tight ends in the league. You have him at the tight end spot. I had him in fantasy last year. Unreal. You could use a little bit more, but here's the thing. If I were the Ravens right now, and I would you can't sit down face-to-face with him right now because of what everything's going on. But let's just say I was the Ravens right now and they were able to meet face-to-face. If I was the Ravens, I was the GM, I was Harbaugh, I was everything like that, I would go up and say to him, are you going to be trouble? And he's going to have to tell you, are you going to be trouble? I'm being serious. Be hard on him, right? Don't sugarcoat it, Be hard on him. Say, are you going to cause trouble? And if he says no, or let's just say, he doesn't really know, and say, if you cause trouble, you're getting released once you start to cause trouble. Right? I would be hard on him throughout the whole season, so then he can be at the old Antonio Brown we all know, right? And, the Steelers, I'll tell you what, that's where I agree with the Steelers. The Steelers are probably one of the smartest teams. They got rid of him, and the Raiders look stupid. Well, not stupid, but the Raiders don't look smart now for picking him up. Because look what he did with the Raiders, right? And the Steelers, if you think about it, they were a very, very smart team by doing this. Very smart. They were very, very, very smart by doing this. By picking, by releasing him. The Steelers are very smart. Raiders, on the other hand, weren't smart. Because it's not like he really started. He really had problems once he was with the Raiders. He really did. But he was starting problems with the Steelers, and the Steelers are like, okay, well, this is going to start to get out of hand. And they got rid of him, and they're like, oh, now they're sitting back and looking, wow, look what it could have been. If we kept him for one more season, that could have turned into that. That's not good. So let's look at his stats. Like I said, it wouldn't be a horrible move. It wouldn't be a good move either. I'm not going to say, because it's going to be right? Because if you're getting the old Antonio Brown, he could be in Pro Bowl again. You're getting the Antonio Brown now that it's almost like he really doesn't care about football. He's kind of just, I don't even know how to really say it. He's not Antonio Brown we used to know, right? He's not the top receiver in the NFL right now. Last season he played one game. 131 games, he has had 841 receptions, 11,263 yards, 13.4 is his average, yards per game 86, long is 79, touchdown 75. You look at it, in 2018 he had a 15 touchdown season. And in 2019 everything went downhill. He had a 15 touchdown season in 2018. He was at the top of his game. 15 games, 104 receptions, 1,297 yards, 12.5 was his average. Round that up to 13. Lens, once again, I always talk about stats. It doesn't matter. 12 and a half, 13, if you round it up, it doesn't matter. It's really the same thing. 86 and a half, round that up to 87, right? 15 touchdowns. That's a lot. It's a lot. It's a lot of touchdowns. And it's crazy how in one season that you could change that much. He went from he was in 2018, he was still one of the top receivers in the league. He went from having 15 touchdowns to having one and being the talk of the league in a bad way. In a bad way. He's had 549 first downs. It's crazy. So, that's what I got for Antonio Brown. Like I said, it wouldn't be a horrible move. It wouldn't be if he's back to the old Antonio Brown, you could go ahead and say, wow, you can go back 3 years from now if he's back to the old Antonio Brown and the Ravens win a Super Bowl 3 years from now. You could go ahead and say, wow, this move changed things. This move really did. Right? And I think it could be that if Antonio Brown's back to old Antonio Brown. Right? It could be that. Could. Antonio Brown really helped the Steelers get to the playoffs while he was there. He really helped them. He helped Ben Roethlisberger be one of the top quarterbacks in the league for the past couple of years. Now he's not really anymore. He's kind of old, out of his prime. He got injured. Who knows what's going to happen with him, right? Antonio Brown is a good receiver when he is not, I don't know really how to word it best, but when he's not really when he's on his game and he's not off his game. When he's on his game, he can be a very good receiver. When he's off, like last year, he could be the talk of the league in a bad way, and you never want that, and you don't want that. So, like I said, if this happens, if he gets picked up, if he's back to the old Antonio Brown, this would be a very good move. If they pick him up, he's nothing but a problem, like last year, then you go ahead and say, you know what, we're releasing him. You don't know if he's going to get back into an NFL team. This could really be make or break on Antonio Brown's career if he goes because the Ravens could possibly take a chance on him. They could take a big chance because he's going to want money too. He's going to want the money. They're taking a big chance. They're taking a big amount of money, giving it to a receiver who possibly might not even do anything for you like he did with the Raiders. The Raiders paid him all that money, and he didn't even play one regular season snap with them. It's crazy. So that's what I got for Antonio Brown. Now we're going to the Nets coaching shirts. There's a lot of rumors around the Nets right now and their coach and what their next coach will be, obviously after Kenny Atkinson got fired. There's a lot of talk. There really is. It's a ton of talk about what might happen what might happen at the end of the season. Right. I talked about this. Let me look at my notes. So today's Wednesday. Monday I talked about this. Yeah, because I have it here. Okay. So Monday I talked about the KD return in 2020. And obviously that the KD return in 2020, possibly, meaning if let's just say after all this, before I start on this, the NBA is opening its facilities May 8th. It's I forget, 4 players are allowed there in at a time. 4 players are allowed in at a time, and they're not allowed to run scrimmages, no teams like that. 4 players are in there at a time. I think the workout places and like the where you can get like treatment and stuff, they're all closed still. But I think you're allowed to use the courts and the hoops. But like I said, for some players, I know 2 players. I know I've said this probably before on the podcast, but I know 2 players. Jason Tatum and Giannis have not had access to a hoop since the lockdown with the virus and everything has started. So they might be one of the first 4 players for the, but you have to ease restrictions. So I don't know if Boston or Massachusetts, whatever, I don't know if they ease their restrictions or anything. It's only to the team. So like, for example, I don't think California has eased the restrictions. I think they've still been locked. No, they have. Never mind. They have eased the restrictions. I don't know. Some states I know, like, for example, like, ease restrictions, meaning, like, Florida. I think they've eased the restrictions as well. So, Miami Heat will be able to go and play. Like 4 players at a time. Same with California. All the California teams there, like the Warriors and all of them, they'll be able to go to the training facility. Like the New York has not used the restriction, so the Brooklyn Nets and the New York Knicks will probably not be able to go. So who knows, right? They probably won't be able to go to the facilities and practice as 4 at a time. So the Nets coaching search. Let's go back onto this. So the Nets coaching search. Nets coaching spot, Ty Lue, right? There's a lot of rumors around who the Nets might take. There's a lot of stuff. So this is it. So the Nets there's rumors that the Nets might get Tom Thibodeau. I don't know how to pronounce his last name. But there was projections that they were going to get him. The Nets, Rockets to join Knicks in pursuit of Tom. I'm just going to call him Tom. So the Nets, Rockets, and Knicks are the 3 teams, the 3 main teams that are in pursuit of this coach. Now, if you don't know, you probably do. There was a team called the Cleveland Cavaliers a couple years ago in 2016. They were dominant. They came back from 3-1, beat the Warriors, and won the 2016 NBA Finals. Kyrie Irving played on that team. Him and Ty Lue were very close. LeBron, and Ty Lue were very close. Kyrie's one of the leaders of the Nets. Sometimes you rely on a leader to bring in his own coach. LeBron asked about it. LeBron wanted Ty Lue. LeBron and LeBron. It's a little interesting because LeBron and the Lakers have had some, not fights, but they've had some disagreements. LeBron wanted to get Ty Lue. They gave him not a good 3-year contract purposely. I mean, they don't say purposely, but some people think they purposely gave Ty Lue a 3-year. It was 3 years, not horrible, but they gave him a 3-year and they didn't give him much money. Ty Lue is worth more. Ty Lue is worth a lot of money. He's a very good coach. I would love to see Ty Lue come to the Nets. I did some research on this Tom. He's good too. He's a good coach as well. I did some research on him because I had to. He's a pretty good coach, right? I think if whoever the Nets get, I just hope he's done. I hope he does better than Kenny Atkinson. I was not a fan of Kenny Atkinson. I disliked him a lot. I don't think he did. I don't think his management end of the game, like the final 2 minutes, was not good. And if you know NBA well, the final 2 minutes, you can play 2 minutes of the NBA game. That's really all it is. It's the final 2 minutes that really count the most. The first 3.5 quarters, are pretty much just a bunch of shooting threes, fouling sometimes, But then when you get into the final 2 minutes, it's timeout, foul, timeout, foul, timeout, foul. Oh, turnover, out of bounds. Oh, foul, free throw shots. Oh, blah, 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 blah. It takes 2 minutes could take 20 minutes. Right, it's crazy, and I think that's what the problem with Kenny Atkinson was, is games come down. When games come down to 2 minutes, that means a lot, and Kenny Atkinson was not a very good coach as time management. He used timeouts that were really useless. When I watch the Nets, I try to watch the Nets as much as I can. I pretty much watch all their games. Same with the Yankees. I watch all the Yankees games that I can, right? I watch all the Yankees games and I watch all the Nets games. So, I watch all the Yankees games and I watch all the Nets games. So I was watching all the Nets games and I watch all the Rangers games. I was watching the Nets games and I was watching the Nets game and I was watching and I was like, wait a minute. Kenny Atkinson called a timeout. I think it was the second quarter. I think we were playing the Heat. I think something like that. It was second quarter. We were down by 15-20. We were getting crushed. I was like, wait a minute. So he called a timeout. I don't remember exactly, but he called a timeout. And about 30 seconds later, he called another timeout. I was like, wait a minute. Why would you call 2 timeouts within 30 seconds when nothing went wrong? I don't think the Heat. It's not like we called a timeout, come out of timeout, Heat went on a 10-0 run, and we needed to call a timeout. There was nothing like that. If anything, we were probably on the run. And there was just some times where Kenny Atkinson did not. It's almost like he kind of. It's almost like when the moment came to call, like, when the moment came for him to use time management, it was almost like he kind of just, like, hesitated and just, like, kind of just called a timeout, right? He was like, oh, timeout. Timeout was almost always trying to be his solution, which isn't good. You don't really want that in a head coach. You don't want a head coach all of a sudden just to call timeouts. And I believe that's what happened to Kenny Atkinson. He always was calling, I guess you could use the word useless. Like, he was calling timeouts for really no reason. He was calling, timeouts that we don't need. He was calling, there's been times where we would be on a 7-8-0 run, and he would call a timeout and make a switch on offense. Why would we make a switch when things working? We're on an 8-0 run. You don't call a timeout. You wait to the other team to call a timeout. You don't call a timeout. Nonetheless, then he takes out the lineup and he puts in the backups. You don't do that. I think we could have won. I can name some games right off the top of my head, probably, that 2-3 games that we could have won if it was never for his time management. For example, the Memphis Grizzlies game when Jay Crowder hit that 3. They should not have had Kyrie shoot that shot with still like 4 seconds left. They should not have had. He should have had. What he should have had is Kenny Atkinson. He should have had Kyrie because it was. I think we were winning by 2, right? And what he had was usually the coaches tell you this, and usually the coaches tell you when to shoot. Usually they say shoot 2 seconds left. Kyrie shot with 4 seconds, then they let them drive up the court and score. In my opinion, Kenny Atkinson could have done a little bit better there. I don't think the play was sloppy. I remember the one play, it was Kyrie took the ball up. There was 8 seconds left. He took the ball up. He kind of dribbled to the right. He was expecting a screen. Nobody set a screen. He kind of dribbled to the left, and he had to step back to the right and shoot a 3 or shoot a contested 2, right? And I don't think it was a kind of a sloppy play. I don't know, everybody was just standing around watching, and Kyrie was kind of do something, please, and everybody was kind of just standing around watching. And I remember Kyrie put it up. He missed it. Jay Crowder got it, or Grizzlies got it. I forget. I think they called timeout. They brought up court. No. Yeah, Jay Crowder hit a deep 3, and they won the game. They won the game by 1, I think it was. It was, like I said, I just want a coach that, doesn't hesitate under pressure, and I think that's the problem with Kenny Atkinson. He doesn't hesitate under pressure. We could win many more games under him. There's a way where I'm glad Kenny Atkinson got fired, but there's also a way where I'm there's parts of him where I not miss, but there's parts of him where I kind of feel bad for him. He came to the Nets. He had a horrible team when he came to the Nets. The team just got done with that little run with Jason Kidd as the head coach, and that little run, I think it was Jason Kidd, that little run with Paul Pierce and Kevin Garnett, they made the playoffs. Right, there was a little bit. That was one of the worst trades ever. He came into a team that really had nobody. The Nets have been a known team for kind of guys that come in on 1-year contracts and just leave the next year. They have not had a very good franchise history. We've never won an NBA final, and I think that's where part of me feels bad for Kenny Atkinson, because he came into a team, he came into a front office that was kind of, I shouldn't say broken, but he came into a team that definitely was one of the worst in the league. And he, you can't do much. He came, it's almost that's the part of Adam Gase. He came into a Jets organization that was almost broken. He came into a Jets team that was broken. Todd Bowles, on the other hand, he came into a team that was actually pretty good. We had Brandon Marshall, who at the time was one of the better receivers. He was a good receiver. We had Eric Decker, who was very good receiver when he was with the Jets. We had Darrelle Revis, who's future Hall of Famer probably. He was still kind of in his prime when we had him in 2015. That's when we made that little run. We had Fitzmagic, who all of a sudden was good. Right? We had Muhammad Wilkerson, who had a very good season. We had Sheldon Richardson, who was a quality player. We had a lot of good guys on that team. We had Chris Ivory, who out of the middle of nowhere had an insane season for us, right? And that's why I think it's a little different. But Kenny Atkinson, on the other hand, and Adam Gase, they came into broken teams. The Jets, they have talent here and there, but not enough Same with the Nets. They had really no talent when Kenny Atkinson came on. So I'm just hoping that the Nets, whoever we get, I would love to get Ty Lue because I really believe he could take another team to the finals. Ty Lue, KD, and Kyrie could be the formula to an NBA final win. And I'm telling you this, if KD and Kyrie come back healthy next season, and we might be in DeAndre Jordan, we get him. He's still on the team and everything. He's doing well. Dinwiddie is doing well. I really believe this could be a team that could be a final contender. I really do. And who else? There was rumors that we might get Bradley Beal in the offseason too, right? Whoever we get in the draft. I was looking at a mock draft the other day. Trey Jones going to Duke. From Duke. The Nets are rumored to get him possibly. You know how big that could be? That could be so big for us. I believe the Nets could get many more pieces this offseason too. And I'm excited. I think next year the Nets could definitely be final contenders. But like I said, I just hope the Nets, get a good coach. I just hope they don't mess up and they go out there and get a bad coach like Adam Gase. I just hope they get a good coach that can coach a team, that can bring them to a playoff, that knows the game very well, that can have experience, can build good team chemistry, has locker room control, because some coaches, they don't have locker room control, and that's a huge problem. That's a huge problem. So that's what I got for the Nets. So I just hope we get a good coach. I'm just hoping we get a good coach. So that's what we got for the Nets. And so I'm going to talk about the MLB possibly returning. If I get it up here. I watched the KBO today. It was good. It was good. So here it is. So, I found out CBS Sports today. A guy tweeted it out. But supposedly, a team told their players to be ready by July 1st. Could be opening day. So, this is what I heard. So, some good baseball news. I just heard from multiple sources that on June 10th, spring training 2, so they're going to resume spring training, will start. July 1st will be opening day, and all teams will be playing at their home ballparks. We'll be discussing this in the fall on the next Talking Baseball. I have a couple things here. It's almost like this report, this kind of guy that, the guy that tweeted this out and everything, it's almost like he's kind of, I can see both sides. I'm excited. I think this is going to be great. But I also think everybody's going to be playing in their own ballparks. Everybody's going to be doing this. He's almost like thinking 3 weeks from now, life's going to be back to normal. And I don't think that's kind of true. It's almost like I just heard from multiple sources on June 10th. Right? June 10th, that's coming up. June 10th, spring training 2 will start. July 1st will be opening day, right? July 1st, that's soon from now. And you have all teams will be playing in their ballparks. Like, for example, the Yankees, New York has not even done the restrictions. Like, they have not even, and then there's a couple of teams out there that might have a tough time. They said there will be no fans in the ballpark though, still. But I think this could be great. If this actually could be what it is, I think it was the Indians manager. I think it was. I'm not sure. But supposedly, it could be. It could possibly be very true that we could be seeing baseball within the next 2-3 weeks. Again, about a month actually, because it's only May 6th. If he's saying June 10th, about a month from now, we could very well be seeing baseball, MLB again. And that would be awesome. I just want sports back, right? I was talking to somebody this morning. It's horrible. It's horrible without sports. Like, there's nothing to watch. And I know there's some people out there that watch sports, but they also have their other television shows and everything. I only watch sports. Like, I'm not a Netflix guy. I don't watch Netflix. I've watched probably one movie since the lockdown. I think I might watch another. I don't know, but I'm not a big movie guy. I'm not a big binge watcher on Netflix. I'm not that. I like to watch my sports shows. I like to watch all my sports shows, like the ones I have a couple of them in mind. I like to watch Boomer and Geo. I like to watch Undisputed. I like to watch The Herd with Colin Cowherd, Tiki and Tierney. I have my sports shows. The Jim Rome show, I sometimes watch. I don't always watch him because sometimes it's difficult scheduling wise. And I have my shows. I watch that, so I've been watching that. But it's just like usually that's what I do. Is like I'll watch the morning shows and everything, and then I usually watch sports. And then like now I would be watching a show right now, and then I usually watch, like, sometimes I'll watch Tiki and Tierney up until the Yankees game comes on, Yankees game, I watch the Yankees game, and that's it for me. That's really the TV schedule I work on, right? I don't watch Netflix. I'm not a big Netflix guy. I don't really watch other shows. I really just watch sports. Shouldn't even say that. I just watch sports, that's really all I watch. So now it's tough, but, there's some things that are on that I will watch, other than sports. But when sports is in full run, I don't watch anything else. It's just sports. So MLB returning will be huge. I'm very excited. Hopefully this is true. It's true. I just don't know if I don't know if the MLB is aware of this. I'm hoping this is true. Meaning like this is actually going to happen, because there's been other stuff like, baseball is returning in July. Baseball is returning. There was a rumor that they were going to return in late May, and with baseball returning in May in Arizona and Florida and all that, like that's not obviously going to happen now. Hopefully this is actually going to happen. This morning I watched the KBO baseball, Korean baseball organization. It's on now since it's on. They signed a deal with ESPN to be playing online, but obviously it's kind of hard because it's difficult to. It's obviously it came on today, 5:30. I got up at 7, so I watched like the 5 to 9 innings, 5th inning to like 9th inning. The Doosan Bears versus the LG Twins I watched. But I've enjoyed it. I enjoyed it. Comment down below if you watched it or if you did, and if you enjoyed it. Because I enjoyed it. I really did. I really thought, like this could be huge for KBO. They were saying, I was watching ESPN. This could be huge for them because like this could show this could be huge for them. Them signing a deal. Possibly this could be aired more often now. I don't think it will when MLB season, when everything gets back up and running, because this is the first major sport that's back. They don't have any fans in the ballpark. What I found interesting is, how football games has cheerleaders? Korean baseball, they have like cheerleaders. They have like people standing on top of the dugouts, it looked like cheering. Like MLB doesn't have that. Baseball doesn't have it. It's a little interesting. It's a little different. There's 10 teams. There's 10 teams. They're all in the same division. I think the top 5 teams make the playoffs. There's, pretty sure, the 4th seed and 5th seed make the playoffs, and the top 3 get a bye. I think there's 144 games. Each team plays each other, I think, 4 times. I'm pretty sure. So 10 or whatever the case may be, 144, maybe a little bit more. 144 games. Playoffs are the same. Their World Series is called the Korean Series. It's not called the World Series. MLB's is obviously the World Series. But it was good. It was good. I enjoyed it. I watched it obviously today and stuff, and I watched it live. And obviously the Doosan Bears beat the LG Twins 5-2. But like I said, I think I was watching some of the highlights and stuff. It's pro baseball just in Korea. That's what it is. It's their version of the MLB. And that's really what it is. I'm trying to think, same with, football and all that. There's football overseas, there's probably some France football leagues, I know. There's some Brazil football leagues and all that, not soccer, meaning, actual American football. That's their version of the NFL, is out there. That's their version. Yeah, it's not as big as the not as big as these the American sports leagues, but, it's their version. So Korea, that is their version of their MLB. That's the Korea MLB, pretty much, the KBO, Korea Baseball Organization. So I enjoyed it. But I think tomorrow there's another game on as well. I think it's the NC Dinos that come on for Samsung Lions, I'm pretty sure. But anyway, So I enjoyed it. It was good. But that's what I got for today's pod. 39 minutes. That's a long pod. Hopefully everybody enjoyed it. Tomorrow I'll be back at it. I might be doing the MLB Power Rankings tomorrow. Tomorrow's Thursday, so it's the Friday. I'll be talking about the schedule that came out. I might do my early, way too early prediction on the Jets record. So that's what I got for that. What else? Not really. That's it. That's it for the pod. Hopefully everybody has a good rest of the day. Hope you enjoyed it, and thanks for watching.